I want to introduce you to my barn. This barn wouldn't have been possible had it not been for a yoga class. You know, we often talk about needing to take time for ourselves and have white space. Well, this is one of the reasons why it's so profound and so important for us. It's not just about recovering from our week and managing all of the many competing priorities. It's also freeing up our brain to figure out and make the inner knowing clear to us because we've slowed down enough to allow the insights, the internal processing that's been happening to rise to the surface. When our family was going through a crisis and we needed to figure out a different path for our life, we were stuck. Because you see, we thought we were doing everything right. We thought that our careers and having the kids in different activities and you know, having built a friend base and being in a safe community, we thought we were doing everything right. And then a crisis happened and we realized that we weren't. Well, what do you do when you thought that you were living everything the way it's supposed to be? What do you do? Well, I didn't have a lot of time in my life. I wasn't prioritizing time to read novels that I loved and do fitness classes. I didn't belong to a gym anymore. I had some friends, but we got together through play dates and activities, or we'd see each other at the hockey arena. So our brains would be distracted, our eyes would be on our kids, and we might, you know, catch up a little bit on the side. Life was busy. And if you have young children, you know exactly what I mean. However, the yoga mat was calling to me one Sunday. When we were in the midst of this emotional storm. And just before class began, as I'm lying in Shavasana, an insight shows up completely I guess at the time it was meant to be. And my inner knowing had found the solution. And here's what the vision was. As I'm lying there in Shavasana before class begins, I'm picturing a barn, a converted barn, with a fireplace that in this vision I'm standing in front of, and I'm facilitating a group on beige couches surrounding that hearth. And people are engaged and they're smiling and they're participating. And I realize all of a sudden in that vision, this is my barn. And this is my business. And this is what I'm doing full time. And I'm happy. And as I look out the window, I can see our house. And guess what I can see right now as I'm filming this for you? I can see my house. My house with my kids inside it, safe and happy. And my husband's at work, but guess what? He's happy too. And this vision became our roadmap. And we didn't know how to get there, but now we had a destination. We had a true north that we were striving towards. And I'll tell you, when I came home and I said to my husband, guess what? I figured out the answer to all of our problems. We are going to sell our house. We're going to sell our cottage. We're basically going to liquidate everything. We'll keep the kids pretty attached. We're going to keep the cars. We're going to need those, but get rid of everything and liquidate our life so that we have disposable income. We have zero debt, and I'm going to start a business, and I'm going to be more available to the kids, and they're not going to do before and after school care. That's what we're going to do. I think he probably looked at me like eyes wide, but you know what? This is how you know you're married to somebody who believes wholeheartedly in your greatness, is he said, okay, let's do it like that. And we started looking, and it was hard to find what we were looking for without it breaking one of the rules, such as we saw all these beautiful places in the country with the barn that's converted, or one that could be, but it was millions of dollars. So all of a sudden, that dream of being no debt and not having the pressure for this new business, of which I did not know what I was going to be doing, nor did I have a business plan, we couldn't be in debt to have that happen. So we kept looking and kept looking. And normally I'm a really impatient person. If you know me well, you'll realize that when I put my mind to something, it's going to happen. I am tenacious to the point where I'm also a little bit impatient that resolution happens. But there was sometimes when your dream is so clear and so big and you let yourself wholeheartedly believe it, all of a sudden you have the patience because You don't want to shortchange the best version of your life. And we got an email from my dad one day. Now, my parents weren't thrilled when I shared with them this vision because, you see, my dad was an entrepreneur. My mom stayed home to raise us and help my dad out in his business. And so we never had benefits. My dad didn't have a pension. He was constantly taking every job he could just so that he could make sure he could pay the mortgage. And they had a big mortgage, 80s, real estate, with all the crushing mortgage, what do they call that? Interest. See, don't have a mortgage, couldn't remember. And they were not thrilled. They thought the reason why we made sure that you girls, my sister and I, went to university was so that you could get a job and never have to worry the way we worried. But again, when your dream is so big and so clear and so absolutely undeniable, people can't help but get on board. So my dad sent me a message with a picture of my mom in front of an old barn, this one, and said, "We think we found the place." We pulled up. It was a house that needed so much work. It was a barn that, no joke, was a squirrel house. It was falling down the hill. We live on a ravine down, and the water is down there. I mean, gravity is pulling this thing down towards the water. But I said, this is it. And it took years, no joke, years, living through renovations in our house, living through renovations in this barn. However, it was exactly what was meant to happen. I mean, I can't imagine doing anything other than what I do. Maybe I've worked with you, serving you either as a coach or as a speaker, as a trainer, as a consultant, maybe all of those things. Because there is literally nothing I was meant to do on this earth more than 3 things. Be the best wife I can be the most empathetic and tuned in mom I can be, and be a recognition expert who helps you to be the cultural crusader for your company, your organization that you deserve to be. And so I am so grateful for having the mental white space on that day and somehow making time in our chaotic life to get on my mat for 1 hour to have the insight of completely building a life that I could have never imagined if I were just trying to connect the cognitive dots. My friends, what white space do you need to build into your life for whatever question is on your mind? It may be personal, it could be academic, it could be professional, it could be all of those things. Have you given yourself the time to not have a busy brain, to not be listening to books and podcasts and cooking dinner and, go for a walk, go to yoga, sit with a cup of tea and watch. Hey, it's raining, it's pouring rain. Sit and listen to the rain. Go for a hike and walk in nature by yourself. Be in awe of the universe. Go to bed early and just let your mind wander. In fact, why don't you go to bed tonight and say, okay, subconscious, I have a job for you. I need you to process that decision or understand that situation or try to figure out why you're so sensitive and emotional about this particular thing. Do the work, and I'm going to go to sleep. Give your brain a chance to figure out everything that is already clear inside. My friends, you deserve to live the life you want, and the way in which you're going to do it is by letting your inner knowing have a chance to come to the surface. My name's Sarah McVanel. I'm fortunate to serve you. And one day, possibly, you come to my barn and hang out with me so that you can see evidence that you can create a life by design because you are already greatness.